Basically, we are still living in the old tradition called fear. ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಹೆದರ್ಸಿ ಒಂದು ಹಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಬಂದ್ಬಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಎವ್ರಿ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಡ್ರೀಮ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ನನ್ನ ಮಗ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಬರಬೇಕು, ನನ್ನ ಮಗಳು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಬರಬೇಕು, ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ರಾಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ನಾವ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಥಿಂಕಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ನನಗೆ ಡಾನ್ಸ್ ಇಷ್ಟ, ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಡಾನ್ಸ್ ಕಲಿಬೇಕು. Another child who's not good at studies and has the higher skills can be on a top-notch job without the marks, but with the skills he can go top. Even if I'm a first ranker, sometimes I don't even know how to fix the bulb. There are college students who still urge to have that one hug from a father. Education is not everything now. There's something called skills, there's something called IQ, there's something called pressure. ಮಕ್ಕಳೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೇನು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರೇನು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. The child doesn't learn what you teach them, but the child learns what you do to them. Comparing the child to either sisters or siblings or brothers or to somebody who's a neighbor, never compare that child. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂದೇ ತರ ಅವನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ನನ್ನ ಮಗುಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ? We should leave this statement.
Namaskara. Welcome to Real Celebrity Podcast, powered by C. Krishna Chetty Group of Jewelers. These are stories of extraordinary women. In every episode, we bring experts from different domains, different industry, and today we have an expert from the education space. So let me introduce you to Vanitha Lokesh, the Managing Director of Shrishti Group of Institutes, the Principal of BMN Public School, and someone who has done exceptional work in the space of education, who's been with the children from a very long time, understand parenting, done a lot of research work in the space of child psychology. So let me introduce ma'am to you. Hello, Vanitha Lokesh avare, hegidira?
Hello, namaste. I'm fine. Thank you, Spurti. How are you?
I'm good. So the first thing, I have known you personally also. The first thing I would like to compliment is, how is that your schools have got such a young and beautiful principal?
Okay, that's a compliment. Thank you. Well, maybe I work for it.
Because, I mean, when I have been in the schools, what principal image we have, like Principal Buddhitashta, I know you have that also in your school, nim school al elru a principal, but namgella nim nodaga like you're like that young, cute little atara ansutte. But yeah, I mean, I'm so excited to, learn through this journey in this next 45 minutes to 1 hour about education system and the research that you have done in the child psychology space, parenting bagge. And to begin with, I just want you to tell our audience, what can they get by watching this video? What value can they get? What can they learn from this podcast?
All I wanted to convey to our parents and those people who want to know about this field is, we need to understand the psychology of a child. We need to understand the emotions of a child, which is the most important thing, and which is the most neglected space in this field of education. And it has been sidelined, it has been traumatized, sidelined, and mental health is the most important thing that has to be focused.
Okay, so we're going to speak a lot about child psychology,
yes,
parenting, and we will speak about education as a space.
I would love to.
Yeah, so I'm excited about this. So first, tell me, what inspired you to enter this field of education? How did you come into this space?
I got married and then I wanted to go to work, and then my family insisted that you can do something where we are, and my husband told me that he wanted to start an educational institution, and we both started together.
Oh, lovely. So it's not a family business. It is started after you got married, and
yes,
you together
much.
Started these institutions.
Yeah.
So Shrishti Public School, or Shrishti Group of Institution, has its own name in the area. So can you tell me, where is your school and what's the institutions that you run?
Well, we started in 2003. The name of the school is Shrishti Group of Institutions. So the first school was started in 2003, June, which is called Shrishti Public School.
Okay.
Recognized by Government of Karnataka. Idu Makliyalide, Makli Alu Road, Himalaya Company towards Bangalore North.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
So adadmele there is another 3 schools, right, that you have?
Yes.
Okay.
Adadmele 2008 ಅಲ್ಲಿ we started a school called BMN Public School, which is again situated in the same area with a different block. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ 2014 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳಕು ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಅಂತ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. So that is a state affiliated school. So that
there's a story behind Belaku Public School.
Yes.
So Belaku Public School is for someone who wants to get quality education but is not able to afford it. So what was the thought that why Belaku started? You had group of institutes and you decided to start one school for somebody who's not able to afford and want to support. Why did that thought come in?
ನಾವು 2003 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ there were a lot of parents who come and ask us, ಸರ್ ನನಗೆ ಫೀಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ನಮಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಕಷ್ಟ ಇದೆ, ಕನ್ಸೆಷನ್ ಕೊಡಿ, ಫ್ರೀಯಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡಿ, ನನ್ನ ಮಗ ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಓದ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತ. ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲಲ್ಲಿ ಓದ್ಸೋದಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಅವ್ನು ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಓದ್ತಾನೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಓದಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಆಸೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ದೆನ್ ವೆನ್ ವಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಕನ್ಸೆಷನ್ ಆನ್ ದೀಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ನು, ದಿ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರೀ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಳೋಂಥ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಸುಮಾರು ಜನ ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ರು. ಲೈಕ್ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಆ ಸ್ಕೂಲಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಫ್ರೀ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಅಂದಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಬರ್ತಿದ್ರು. ಸೊ that was something of a concern for us. Then we started thinking, why not we start a school only for them, so that they have a special school, they have their own identity, or they have their own free inclusion, so that they can just come into our school. Amazing. As a
so ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಬೆಳಕು ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್?
We have 176 students.
Beautiful. 176 students. 176. Wow, free education for them is something that you're doing, and I'm so proud of you, Vanitha ji. I mean, I wish you get a lot of power to make it more, and a lot of children benefit out of this. So, and then you also have a preschool, Little Millennium chain franchisee also. So, which one do you enjoy the most? Working with the tiny tots, preschools, middle school, or secondary school as a principal?
I would like to actually, I enjoy being in the secondary school with the secondary school students, because my favorite subject is psychology. I would like to study human behavior. ನಂಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಸೈಕಾಲಜಿನ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ. ತುಂಬ ಲೈಕ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಹ್ಯೂಜ್ ಓಷನ್. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕಾಗಲಿ, ಅವ್ರ ಮ್ಯಾನರಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ಆಗಲಿ, ಅವ್ರು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಡಿಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಅವ್ರು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಗ್ರೆಸಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ಆಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಯಾಕೆ ನಗ್ತಾರೆ, ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ರೀಸನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ಐ ವುಡ್ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಲವ್ ಟು ಬಿ ವಿತ್ ದೆಮ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ exchange of things that happens with high school students.
Amazing. So what I noticed is, I have visited your school and I love your school. Honestly, I must tell you, BMN school and Shrishti Public School, the block is like a Ooty convent school. It's so beautiful, and the ground space that you have, I mean, I will tell you why I went there and all of that. But why I came there and why I was speaking about it is exactly nim cabin paka 10th standard makkalla itkonidira. So I, being a typical student who was the most naughtiest brat in my 10th standard, or someone who didn't want to be next to principal's cabin. Why is that you have kept 10th standard students next to you?
10th standard students alli monitoring tumba ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, and there's a lot of bullying that happens, and they start hitting if we do not monitor them. ಒಂದು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕಾದರೂ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇ ಎಲ್ಡರ್ ಕಿಡ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ their physical strength is quite strong. So ಅದೇ ಫ್ಲೋರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಸ್ಟಾಫ್ ರೂಮ್ ಇಟ್ಟಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ we wanted them to know that like there's somebody to monitor them. So I've always wanted to have them next to my cabin.
Right. You see, Vanitha ma'am, actually Dr. Vanitha Lokesh, she also has her doctorate. So being very humble, you must be wondering, principal madam ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, but when you go see her in our school, this is not how she is. We have seen that. So yeah, I mean, there is a different version of you, where how you are outside to how you are there, and that's definitely required. So I would like to ask you, like, what's the most amazing thing about being an educationist?
Yeah, this is a very nice question. The most amazing thing is like you gain a lot of enormous respect and name in the field. This is something that I don't think so anybody can get, be it teachers, be it the staff, be it people who are working, or be it the school students. It's like being called Shrishtians or like, our school students, our school staff, or me being called the principal or the managing director of so itself is an immense, like, proud
Right.
feeling for me.
Hmm.
So I would definitely love to work because every day is a challenge in school. Every day. It's been 23 years of a journey for me, and till now I've never had a repeated day. So every day is a new challenge for me.
Amazing. And it's also a field of contribution. It's a field that is very important and playing a very, very big role in how the country is shaping up, right? And I have a lot of things to talk to you about the education system. So now, currently in India, we have a certain education system, right? And there's a lot of good things about it because people across the world compliment Indian education system for its values and the kind of intelligent kids that India produces every single year. It could be any field. Indian kids are smart, intelligent, and they're powerful when they pass out. But there is a huge disparity. Matlab, some kids are exceptional, some kids are average, some kids can't reach up to the mark, and everybody is getting the kind of education is, the learning is same. So what do you think is a real challenge in the education system today?
The biggest challenge here is there is no uniformity of education in India. So be it 100 CBSE schools all over India, the education that is being taught in one school is completely different from the other school, be it state syllabus, be it ICSE syllabus. It depends on the school, it depends on the
Management
teachers,
also.
management, it depends on the infrastructure, it depends on what is the quality of the school that the school is actually giving. So there's a lot of changes. So because of all these changes and no uniformity in education, there's a lot of output changes also that we actually receive.
So what do you think is the change required, according to you, to bring in a difference in the education system so that everybody gets the kind of quality education they deserve?
There should be a lot of resolutions that has to be done to make the education system on a uniform basis. So the uniform kind of education that has to be given, like there's so many schools, even if it is like state syllabus, the first standard textbook in this school is different from the first standard textbook of the other school. So that itself, the basic things have to come in line. So in one school there's a lot of sports, in another schools there is no sports at all for them. So that has to be mended. So in one school there's too much of academics, and in another school there's no, they focus on the academics, but parallelly it's more on sports. So each school has a own derivation of how they teach, how they want to bring the education system. So there has to be a lot of resolutions that has to be passed all over the country, to bring in a lot of changes at the micro minimal level.
Right. So what do you do differently, and what do you do that is required to make a difference and set your school apart from other schools? Some of the resolutions that you have taken, some of the initiatives that you have taken to set yourself apart from everybody else standing out there.
Our school actually stands out for quality and discipline. So for us, discipline is the most important thing that we actually follow. There's a lot of discipline aspects that actually reflects in a child. So the first discipline that we would expect from any child is like, how they behave with their teachers. Because nowadays we find a lot of arrogancy in students, not even asking like, may I come in, ma'am, and all that. So that is literally not there, especially after COVID. The time gap was too much where children forgot so many things and everything. So we focus on the discipline, and we focus on sports as well, because we believe sports brings a lot of discipline in students. And I think you must have seen sports students.
Yeah, I think you have sports. Yeah. Everybody has sports day in a year, once in a year. You have every month.
But we have sports day once in a month, so that we want children to enjoy coming to school, enjoy the whole processing of school. Because in this era of education, it's not about what parents want from children or what the school wants from children. We'll have to think what the child wants from the school. So children definitely love playing, because we all remember during our school days, if one teacher was absent, the next thing was like, okay, we're going to get PE as a class. So in our school, the first basic rule is there's no cancellation of PE periods at all without my permission. and there will be a sports day every month, and they'll have to enjoy the sports thoroughly for a day.
That's amazing.
That's what all the students enjoy in that month.
Amazing, amazing. So you were just telling about the discipline, that you follow, and you were just saying, "May I come in, please?" Has also become on request, and there is arrogancy. And when I was, thinking on that, and when you were speaking on these lines, I also remembered that a lot of HRs today, when they're hiring, also are facing direct answers. There's nothing wrong, right? I would not be the right person to tell, but children have become more vocal and more reciprocative, and they're able to voice out to what they want. There is a thin line difference between being arrogant to voicing out what they really want. So how do you really differentiate this thing in based on the child psychology?
Voicing out from children is something that we'll have to take it with huge respect and concern. Because I completely believe when the child comes to this earth, or when she or he is born, the child has the liberty to play. The child has the liberty to fall, get up, have his own culture through the education that he faces. And we as parents and teachers or educators have to understand that a child has every right to understand or to speak out what he or she wants. It's not about how much the child is feeling cold and the mother wants to put as many sweaters as much as she feels it is cold. It's like we need to understand the child has a certain body temperature and he may not feel cold at all. The mother may be feeling very cold, but we insist the child has to be wearing sweater, cap and everything, and the child says that no, I don't want to wear sweater because I have been playing. The body temperature is more than them because they're very active. And I think we need to respect that fact of respecting their point of view, and parents thinking that ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ನಾವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ತುಂಬ ತಪ್ಪಾಗುತ್ತೆ. We should never stand on that statement. It's no more there. So we should try to understand children on a very different perspective, I feel.
Okay. So as a teacher, what are the first basic things that she or he should notice when there is a difference in a behavior in a child?
I think the teacher has to speak out with the child. And basically when a teacher becomes a class teacher in the class, the teacher needs to know all the constraint the child is going through at home. Because every day when the child comes to school, you never know if the child is coming to the school seeing the parents fight, or there could be some trauma at home. You never know what is the mental condition of the child. The child may be happy some days, the child may be sad. The teacher will never get to know what is the emotion going on with the child. But the teacher needs to understand, the teacher needs to analyze if the child is sad, why is he sad? So she needs to go sit and talk to the child about it, or give some kind of help so that he becomes fine there.
Right. So we were speaking about child being, the teacher being able to understand the kid and speaking to the child. So let's talk about one child is feeling sad and wants to express it. What is the kind of methodology that the system or the management has to create so that child has the liberty to speak out, say, and maybe seek for help that particular time rather than suffering inside?
The challenge here is the time constraint, because the teacher will be given a 40 to 50 minutes class. She needs to take the class, take the attendance, and then give notes, complete her portions, take the classworks, return back the classworks and everything, and giving this personal time of hers, because this cannot be discussed in the whole class. So she has to give that personal time. We have counselors in the school who can address to this, or maybe the teacher has to take permission from the school, take the child, and then have a personal conversation with the child and sort this out.
Right. So you have been, I'm sure you have addressed a lot of issues internally.
A lot of issues, yes.
Lot of, it could be children issues, it could be teachers, it could be parents, it could be a lot of managemental issues. But speaking particularly about children, what are the biggest issues that you are seeing in children today, school children today?
Basically, we are still living in the old tradition called fear. ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಹೆದರ್ಸಿ ಒಂದು ಹಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅಂದರೆ ಓಕೆ, ಐಮ್ ಗೋನು ಟೆಲ್ ಟು ದ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಐಮ್ ಗೋನು ಟೆಲ್ ಯುವರ್ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಐಮ್ ಗೋನು ಟೆಲ್ ಯುವರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟರ್, ಐಮ್ ಗೋನು ಡೂ ದಿಸ್ ಡೂ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಭಯ ಹುಟ್ಟಿಸಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗಿವನ್ ದಟ್ ಕಂಫರ್ಟ್ ಟು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಟು ಓಪನ್ ಅಪ್ what they want to actually open up. So whenever a child comes for counseling, or when I usually take major cases on counseling, so when they come, it is very, very important that you give that comfort to the child. Giving that comfort to the child and telling him whatever you are doing or feeling is not wrong. Because ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ತಪ್ಪು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಆಗಲೇ ಅದು ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಜಡ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ನಾನು ತಪ್ಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋದು ಅಂತ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಸಬ್ಕಾನ್ಷಿಯಸ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಆಲ್ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಕ್ರೈಮ್. ಸೊ ದೇ ನೋ ವಾಟ್ ದೇ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ರೈಟ್, ಬಟ್ ದೇ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಟೂ ರೈಟ್, so that if it comes out, he'll be judged as a wrong person. So this fear is something that we'll have to work on in children.
So you're saying that a child should not be scared to express, so should have its own boundaries, and should be able to, speak up when she wants to speak or when he wants to speak. And the management and the teachers have to create that kind of safe space for the children, right? Amazing. So I am very curious to know this. I'm sure you've been addressing thousands of children all together. There's a group of children who are extremely sharp, grasping everything, suddenly, like that moment teacher says, they're responding and they're very active and things like that. And there's other category of students like odre ottini aramagirtini. There's other category of students who are like, finding it difficult to absorb what, the teachers are teaching. They're slow learners, idella. In this set of, ambience, how do you ensure that all of these kinds of kids are given equal attention?
First and foremost, I would like to speak about IQ here, because every parent's dream is like, ನನ್ನ ಮಗ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಬರಬೇಕು, ನನ್ನ ಮಗಳು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಬರಬೇಕು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದೇ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು, ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ರಾಂಗ್ ಮೆಥ್ ನಾವು. ಏಕೆಂದರೆ IQ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ is predefined. It is not something that you can create and do something about it. So this comes from generation to generation. Sometimes we always keep telling, oh ಇವನ್ ತಾತ ಥರ ತುಂಬ ಬುದ್ಧಿವಂತ, ಇವನ್ ಅಜ್ಜಿ ಥರ ತುಂಬ ಮಾತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನೇ technically if you take it in the terms of education, it is very much true that the DNAs of everything is being catered from grandfathers, grandmothers and everything. So IQ is not something that you can just define and say that ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಮಗುಗೆ 1% of IQ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರ್ಯಾಂಕೇ ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ದಿ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ನೀಡ್ಸ್ ಟು accept, or the parents need to think that education is not everything now. There's something called skills, there's something called IQ, there's something called pressure, there's a lot of things that the child goes through. ಸೊ ಈ IQ-ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂದೇ ಥರ ಅವನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ನನ್ನ ಮಗುಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ, ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಲೀವ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್.
I think we should grow beyond that now.
Yes, we have to, and I think we are already in that generation where we'll have to give this statement that getting first rank or fifth rank is not everything in life.
And this coming from a principal is truly appreciable,
Thank you so much.
because all we have heard from, principal saying is channag odbeku. Yes, that is there.
I do tell that statement.
Yeah, definitely. Channag odbeku, no doubt about it. But irrespective of, there are certain circumstances and situational things that also affect a child's learning ability and maybe his interest also. Now that, when I speak about 90s kids like us, the opportunities or the exposure was not how it is today. What my 8-year-old child can speak about and, express today is not something what I was at my 8 years. My 8 years was about eating a chocolate and maybe buying something or going with my mother and things like that. Today my 8-year knows what exactly she wants to wear, where exactly she wants to go, how she wants to be dressed, what she wants to eat, everything. She knows, she wants to decide on herself. So things have been evolving, and it really appreciate and acknowledge that principal is speaking about the choices and understanding the child. Well, it's very interesting to know how you acknowledge that every child is different and he needs to be given the freedom to speak up and express himself, and how the opportunities has to flow in. I also I'm also very curious to know that since you have done a lot of research on the child psychology, I'm very curious to understand, and you also meet a lot of children in your day-to-day life, how and the environment at their house has impacted in their behavior and their performance in school.
The environment of the home for a child is actually everything. It's gonna be the present, it's gonna be the future. So now we have so many things which comes into mental, wellness, and I think we all elders think that like namgirashtu problems nimgenide. Actually, children have the most major problems, be it at home or be it at school. They would not be having problem solving skills when it comes to mental wellness. So, how a parent behaves at home with the child, how a parent behaves with, how a father behaves with son or daughter, or how a father behaves with his wife, how he treats his parents, how he treats his servants, all this matters for a child. And the complete characteristics or the character of the child is completely defined by a parent, is what I believe. Unknowingly or knowingly, we don't know, or we may think the child is learning things from somewhere else, but the child learns everything at home. The child doesn't learn what you teach them, but the child learns what you do to them. How you behave at home is something that the child is going to grasp. It's not about, if you just say that do not lie, means the child will not take that, but if you're lying to somebody, the child catches up that.
Like they say, child does not do what you say. Child does not do what you say, but child does what you do.
What you do, yeah. They grasp each and everything, and we think, ಮಕ್ಕಳಲ್ವಾ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೇನು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರೇನು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. Children observe everything and anything at home. They just grasp it, and they try to imitate you out of the box of the family. So ನೀವು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರನ್ನ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರೋ ಅವ್ರು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಹತ್ರ ಬಂದಾಗ ಪಿಯರ್ಸ್ ಹತ್ರ ಆಗಲಿ, ಸ್ಟಾಫ್ ಹತ್ರ ಆಗಲಿ, ಅಥವಾ ಬೇರೆ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಹತ್ರ ಆಗಲಿ, they reflect, they speak about home situation, they speak about how you treat your mother, your father, your wife, or your husband, your son, or anything. The comparisons that you do now is the most important thing that affects a child. The characteristic of a child actually comes with good and bad, of how much he's been tagged for good things and bad things. Now, we as parents do not appreciate children. We always want to compare. ಅವ್ನು ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಓದ್ತಾನೆ, ಅವ್ನು ನೋಡು ಈ ತರ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾನೆ, ಅವ್ನು ನೋಡು ಪಕ್ಕದ ಮನೆಯವ್ರು ನೋಡು ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಇವ್ರು ನೋಡು ಈ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್. ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಪುಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ ಡೌನ್. ನೀವು ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಇನ್ನ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಿದ್ದೀರ ಹೊರತು ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ನಾವು ವಿ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಮೋಟಿವೇಟಿಂಗ್ ದೆಮ್. ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಫೋಕಸ್ ಆನ್ ಸಚ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೋಟಿವೇಟಿಂಗ್. ಲೈಕ್ ಇವಾಗ ಪಕ್ಕದ ಮನೆ ಹುಡುಗ ಒಂದು 4 ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಮ ಹುಡುಗ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟು. ಅಗೇನ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಫೈಡ್. ಈಗ ನಾನು ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿಯವ್ರ ಥರನೇ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿಯವ್ರು ನಾನು ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡೋ ನೆಸೆಸಿಟಿನೇ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ ಈಸ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ದಿ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಾಲಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್. ಅ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಗಿಫ್ಟೆಡ್, ಅ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್. ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಹಿಸ್ ವ್ಯೂಸ್. ಅವನಿಗೇನೋ ಬೇಡ ಅಂದರೆ ಬಲವಂತ ಮಾಡಿ ತಿನ್ನಿಸಿ ಅವನ್ನ ಇದು ಮಾಡೋದಲ್ಲ. ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಗಿವ್ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟು ದ ಚಾಯ್ಸಸ್ ದಟ್ ದ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ ಮೇಕ್ಸ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ದೇರ್. ವಿ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಗಿವ್ ದಟ್ ಲಿಬರ್ಟಿ ಟು ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ಟು ಡೂ ವಾಟ್ ದೇ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಡೂ. ನೀನು ಬೀಳ್ತೀಯ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ. ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ದೆ ನೀನು ಬೀಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಡಬೇಕು ನಾವು. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಅಲೌ ದೆಮ್ ಟು ಫಾಲ್. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೇರ್ ದೇ ಲರ್ನ್ ಅ ಲೆಸನ್.
Absolutely. Yes. Very true. I totally buy this idea from you, and think that the parenting is everything.
Yes.
Like how you are as a parent is how your child reflects.
Yes.
And I think as parents, like if we are born and brought up with a home environment of an abusive parents, like parents fighting with each other, having a very abusive relationship, and the child is somewhere subconsciously being affected. So based on your case studies and the number of children that you have met, ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಅಂಥ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ವಾತಾವರಣ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋಂಥ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಎಂಥ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ಡ್ ಮೇಜರ್ಲಿ?
ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಇದು ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು ಒನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಸ್ಕಿನಾರಿಯೋ ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು. ಇಫ್ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್, everybody goes through a lot of things at home, be it a very rich parent or a poor parent or the middle class parent. ಒಂದು ಮಗು ಒಂದು ಮನೇಲಿತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ರು ದೆರ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಮ್ ಟ್ರೊಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್. ಇವಾಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಏಜಲ್ಲಿರೋವಂಥ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆಗಲಿ ಫ್ಯಾಮ್ಲೀಸ್ ಆಗಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ everybody goes through some kind of bad experiences during their age of 10 to 25 years. ಆ 10 to 25 ಇಯರ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೋ ಮಗುಗೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಅವರು ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಹೋಲ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಟ್ರಾಮಾಸ್. I have so many friends who say that, like, you know, we have gone through this and it's still affecting me. So this is what a child also is going through now. So we have a bad experience where a child is being abused by one of the tenant in her own house, and we as parents do not like listen to the child. So the child goes through the trauma. The child is not able to speak about this for 10 years, 15 years, and that stands as a trauma. So ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಅರ್ಥನೇ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. So environment is something that it's not about being friendly. I would insist parents to be parents than being friendly. So being friends, your children have a lot of friends to share and everything. Being parents, it is very, very important to be supportive of whatever your child does. Okay, ಇವಾಗ ಒಂದು ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಫೇಲ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ it's okay, we can do it next time. And all that I have done in my college, or the qualifications that I've had before my school, I've learned more in this 23 years of experience. I've done so many degrees, and the most important experience is like what I've learned from this school. As such, I want parents to understand that the child psychology is a very, very important thing. ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಅಗ್ರೆಸಿವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ರೀಸನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ.
So there are children who become suddenly aggressive. It especially happens during that transition from 6th, 7th, 8th, right? As per what I know, you may correct me. The actual transition start happening where child starts, ಕಾರ್ನರಿಂಗ್ ದೆಮ್ಸೆಲ್ಫ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಮನೇಲಿ ಯಾರ ಹತ್ರ ಮಾತಾಡಲ್ಲ, ಆಚೆ ಬರೋಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡಲ್ಲ, ಲೈಕ್ he or she doesn't want to come to family functions, which I'm noticing in my internal family also. Why do you think this changes happens during that transition? 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಒಬ್ಬೊಬ್ಬರೇ ಇರಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಯಿಂದ ರೂಮಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬರೇ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾಕಾಗತ್ತೆ?
ಸೊ ದ ಮೇನ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಸ್, ಅವರು 6th, 7thಗೆ ಅಗ್ರೆಸಿವ್ ಆಗಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಮ್ಮದು ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅನ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್, ಅವ್ನು ತುಂಬ ಅಗ್ರೆಸಿವ್, ಅವ್ನು ಕೆಟ್ಟವನು ಅಂತ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಯಾರೇ ಆಗಲಿ ಒಂದು ಅಗ್ರೆಸಿವ್ ಆಗಿರೋರು, ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಫೀರಿಯಾರಿಟಿ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್, or they would have had an experience where he thinks there is nobody to protect me, so I need to protect myself, and hence they become aggressive. ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಯಾರು ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋರು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಅಗ್ರೆಸಿವ್ ಆಗೋದು. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ದೇರ್, children who have very supporting parents do not become very aggressive. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಗ್ರೆಷನ್ ಬರೋದೇ ನನಗೆ ಯಾರು ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. why he goes away from parents is because he feels nobody understands his point of view. ಅವ್ನು ಅಗ್ರೆಸಿವ್ ಆಗಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಗ್ರೆಸಿವ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಮ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. ಒಂದು ಯಾರಿಗೇ ಆಗಲಿ, if I say, Spurti, you're looking beautiful, you really feel good. You already know that you're beautiful, but when I say it lifts up your confidence. We do not do that to children at all. All that we do, ನಿನಗೆ ಕೋಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ, ನೀನು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಂಥದ್ದು ತುಂಬ ಇದೆ. ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಒಂದು ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ನೀರು ತಂದು ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ, ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ನೀವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ದೇ ಫೀಲ್ ಗುಡ್, ದೇ ಫೀಲ್ ಬೆಟರ್. ವಿ ನೆವರ್ ಡೂ ದ್ಯಾಟ್. ಏನು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ಯಾ ನೀನೊಂದು ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ನೀರು ತೊಗೊಂಬಂದಿದ್ದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಬಿಗ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ದೆಮ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಟು compliment them. We need to tell good things to them to lift that up.
Yeah, I think we addressed the psychology behind child being aggressive, but I have also seen parents being very aggressive towards children.
Yes,
like ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಬೈಯೋದು ತುಂಬ. ಅಂದರೆ ಲೈಕ್ ಈವನ್ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರು ಬಿಡಿ, ಅಕ್ಕ ತಂಗಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತು ಅಣ್ಣ ತಂಗಿಲಿ, that comparison itself has created a lot of issue. ಸೊ ಈ ಥರ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನಲ್ಲಿ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ ಒಂದು ಮಗುಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಬೈಯೋದು, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮಗುಗೆ ಶಿ ಈಸ್ ಬೆಟರ್ ದೆನ್ ಹರ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು, ಇದು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ?
ಅದೇ, ಇದು ತುಂಬ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ದ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್. ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ದಿ ಹೋಲ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೇರೆಂಟಿಂಗ್. It can change the whole concept of him being the right person in life. This is something that the parents have to scratch out from their dictionary. Comparison is like you're putting your child down and changing him to be a different person that you're not expecting him to be. Actually, ashtu rational changes agodakke parents karna aagtare, and then they blame that you have become like this, you're not studying. No, this is a major change that parents have to do, is not comparing the child to either sisters or siblings or brothers or to somebody who's a neighbor. Never compare that child. And as I told, I'm very close to secondary students. In my psychology of understanding, children need to be pampered. When children come to 8th standard, the physical not touch of a mother and a child goes on a distance. They think, oh, he's grown up, I should not hug him. He's grown up, I should not touch him. And if you can observe the psychology of a child, 8th standard child would have not hugged his father for years. There are college students who still urge to have that one hug from a father. And in our society, we think that hugging is like, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ನನ್ನ ಮಗನ ನಾನು ಹಗ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, it comes.
It's okay not to be hugged. I mean, it's not necessary to be hugged.
Because you don't have to show. And we need to understand that it is an emotion. And hug is an emotion. And we need to show that emotion to children. Children need to be pampered. Ninen chikku hudga alla. When children say that, Mama, Papa, I want to come and sleep with you, or like ನೀವು ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿಸಿ ಅಂದಾಗ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. Because this is something that they're seeking. They're asking for it. And we need to respect. We should not say that, oh, ಇಷ್ಟು ದೊಡ್ಡವನಾಗಿದೆಯಾ ನಿನಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ತಿನ್ನಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. No, that is not a statement. You're supposed to give what they want. And when a child is asking what he wants, it's your duty that you have to give what the child asks.
Absolutely. Beautifully well said. So, what's good parenting according to you?
This is a very tough question. Me being a parent, I think respecting my child's views and choices and letting them do what they want to do is a good parenting. And thinking that ನನಗೆ ಡ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಇಷ್ಟ, ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಡ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಕಲಿಬೇಕು, no, it's not that. And we need to also understand that there's something called education and there's something called skill also now. ಈಗ ಬರೀ ಓದಿ ಬರೀ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ನಮಗೆ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಹಿ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಅ ರ್ಯಾಂಕರ್, ಬಟ್ ಅವ್ರು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಟಾಪ್ ನಾಚ್ ಜಾಬಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋಕ್ಕಾಗೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. Another child who's not good at studies and has the higher skills can be on a top-notch job without the marks, but with the skills he can go at the top. So parents need to understand skills is something that you need to encourage, be it cooking, be it dancing, be it swimming. So ಈ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಕಿನಾರಿಯೋನ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ parenting itself is like, trying to think that your child is not under your control. Controlling a child is not parenting. Stopping the child from doing the things that he likes is not parenting. Allowing the child to do what he wants to do. Even if he falls, even if he fails, we need to respect that. We need to encourage that. If he falls and comes, you tell him it's okay, you've fallen down, there's always another chance. So if we have been so successful, we have fallen many times, and that's why we are here. So we should allow the child to fall, to get up and come back.
Absolutely, absolutely. So true. And, we were also speaking about good parenting. What's good parenting? There's nothing called bad parenting, but there's a lot of, I think childhood traumas the parent themselves carry, and the situational, experiences that make them the way they are. And I think it's important, as education system or education institutes should do a lot of parenting counseling, organize some camps for the parents to tell them that this is important and this is how it has to be, support ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ.
Yes.
So I think you also do such things, right?
Yeah, we do parent counseling actually, but doing a parent counseling would be a very tough job because of the time constraints that we have. But we definitely can give parental tips. But there are always this thoughts that parents always think they have the best vision to control the child, and they have this thing that like ನನ್ನ ಮಗು ಓದಲೇಬೇಕು, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ಮಾಡಲಿ. ಈಗ 3 months ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಬಂದಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ದೇ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ರಿಟ್ರೈವ್ ದೆಮ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಬ್ರಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು ಸ್ಟಡೀಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್. ಸೊ ಇದು ಪ್ರೀ ಡಿಫೈನ್ಡ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಇದನ್ನು ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಈಗ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ವಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ನಾವು ಓದಿದ್ವಿ, ಬಟ್ ಇವಾಗಿನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ದೇ ವುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಡೂ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದಿ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಈಸ್ ಗ್ರೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್, ದ ಪಿಯರ್ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್. ದೇ ವುಡ್ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಡೂ ವಾಟ್ ದೇ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಡೂ.
ರೈಟ್.
ನೀವು ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ನೀವು ಫೋರ್ಸಬಲಿ ಏನಾದರೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲದೇ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕೋ ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲದೇ ಸುಳ್ಳು ಹೇಳಿ ರೀಸನ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಅವ್ರು ಆಚೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ if you do not encourage them.
Yes.
Say for example, you're not sending a child for a movie when he's in his secondary school. ಅವ್ನು ಸ್ಕೂಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಬ್ಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ he may go out with his friends telling lies to the parent and coming back. This is what happens. So if it becomes an ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇದು ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಇದು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟು ನಾವು ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ನ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವೆನ್ ದ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ ಲೂಸಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಯು ನೆವರ್ ನೋ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಟೂ ಲೇಟ್.
Right.
And by the time you do the corrections, it will be very late
Very
for the
late.
child.
Right. And I think today's, with all that, parents unknowingly, the kind of things that they're putting their kids into, there are situations where there are parents who are totally the way you were telling, respecting child's values, respecting child's, decisions and giving them the space. But yes, within the boundaries. That's good parenting, right? And what are the major issues that you face with parents as a whole? Because I think somewhere, the expectations from the parents have shot up because achievements and success is glorified today. Today everybody wants their kid to become Virat Kohli. Everybody wants their kid to become a scientist, a doctor, a successful entrepreneur and things like that. When the expectations have skyrocketed from the parents, what are the major issues as an educational institute you face?
The major issue being one sentence, nan magu odala. So this is one tagline that the parents always tell, that ನನ್ನ ಮಗು ಓದೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಮನೆಗೆ ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಬ್ಯಾಗಲ್ಲಿ ಸೈಡಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಟು he just goes off to playing and all this and everything. So this again depends on the family, this again depends on the interest, this again depends on the DNA of generations to come. Because ಅವನಿಗೆ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ you can't forcibly make him study. So the biggest challenge being health issues. There are a lot of assessments going on, because we also have a lot of pressures from the higher authorities on assessments, the curriculum, finishing of curriculum and all these things. So when it comes to assessments, parents always want good marks. But here we need to understand that every child cannot be taking the same marks as per your expectations, because there is an understanding, there's a time that the child has to go sit and study. The teachers actually teach, but we as parents need to understand that the child needs to sit and study at home about it. And we as in teachers cannot go to homes or like do the tuitions and everything. The child has to put a little bit of efforts. The parent also has to put a lot of efforts. This is not just about schooling, this is not just about teachers. We teach, they need to learn, they need to study at home. The parents need to cooperate.
So what's your advice and tips to the parents?
I advise parents to be monitoring children at a very grassroots level. And whenever a child goes home, allow the child to play. Allow the child to do what he wants to do and then bring him back to confidence. Compelling a child to do what you want to do and not allowing him to do what he wants to do will not allow the child to like his studies or want to do studies. So we need to give that independence to the child to go play and tell him like, okay, you sit and study for half an hour, 1 hour, that's enough, but you need to do your job also. So I think a parent has to decide on that.
So I've had this personal experience, Dr. Vanitha, regarding, with my own child. So she is someone who loves to spend a lot of time with art. Matlab, she loves sketching. She kind of puts on a video and starts sketching. She loves swimming. She has recently, after QPL, seeing me play cricket, she started liking cricket, and now she have put her into cricket and all of that. So I have noticed her that she's more into all these things, and she wants to be very, very active with sports and things like that. But what I've noticed her is the whole day she goes to school and she comes back home, and then since I am too occupied, we kind of want her to at least go for 1 hour. I mean, especially her dad wants her to go to the tuition and learn few things and come back, so that she keeps up with the pace. But what I've noticed is one day she came out crying, saying that nan hogalla, nange ishta illa, nange aagta illa, because we as parents, me and Vishwas, have given her all the liberty to share, and we have a very, very nice ritual every single night, that whatever time I go, I sleep with my daughter, I put her on my arms and I tell her, Sanvi, tell me, how was your day? So I also tell her, and she asks me, well, how was your day? You tell me. So we have this ritual that every single day, irrespective of the stress, and
very nice,
we have this ritual that we both share each other, we hug and we sleep. All three of us have to speak in the night, we have some fun and things like that. But that day she came running, she came out of her tuitions crying, saying that, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನನ್ಗೆ ಹಿಂದಿ ಬರಲ್ವಂತೆ, ನಾನು ಹಿಂದಿ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಓದಲ್ವಂತೆ. ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ನಿಂಗೆ ಹಿಂದಿಲಿ 20 out of 17 ಬಂದಿತ್ತು, ಯಾರು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಓದ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ವಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಹರ್. ಅವ್ರು ಹಂಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಓದ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಅದನ್ನ, ನಂಗೆ ಅದೇ ಓದಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಂಗೆ ಅದು ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ನಂಗೆ ಹಿಂದಿ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಂಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಂಗೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅದು, ನಂಗೆ ಬೇಡ ಅದು. ದ ವೇ ಶಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸ್ಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ವಿಚ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ನಾಟ್ ಲೈಕಿಂಗ್, but there is no choice of she not learning it. So in such situations as a parent, what should we really do? What do you think? She said ನಾನು ಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಂಗೆಲ್ಲ ಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಹಿಂದಿ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. No, she's not complaining about any other subject. She's stuck with that one subject, saying that I can't do this.
Which grade she is in?
She's in second ivaga.
Second.
Yeah.
This is a very complicated answer for a second grade child. If the child was studying in CBSE and if she was in a secondary school, she had an option to opt out of Hindi, selecting one language in 9th grade. So because she's very young, we cannot do that. But if I was a parent, I would have definitely gone and spoken to the school and did something do something about this.
Okay.
Yeah. And like I think
if I come as a parent and ask that this is my child's situation and she's saying this, how would you respond as a management?
We as management have personalized a lot of things to children actually, where say for example, if I can speak about this, we have a child who comes for 3rd grade and he comes from the other state where he has not studied Hindi at all, and he comes to 3rd grade. We cannot expect the child to be studying a 3rd grade Hindi textbook. So we have introduced something called special paper for a child, where we start teaching Hindi from scratch, and his first round assessments would be on the special paper. That is, it will be A, E, E. That's it. It's not based on the textbook. And all the other students will go through the textbook assessments, but this child will go through this. This is something that we have introduced in our school. This is how much we give importance to individual demands of a child, because we need to understand it's a child. It's not a machine. It's not an AI machine where you learn whatever you want. So this subsidy should be given by a principal or the call taken by the school. So we have that.
And do you see the biggest challenge in the parents WhatsApp group?
Yes.
It's a very straight question that I'm asking you. So there is WhatsApp group for every parent.
Yes.
And you see number of people there, and there is 2-3 parents who always have something to speak about the management and the way the school functions. So I have been a part of a group, and I have been seeing where 90% of the parents don't have a problem with it. There are 2-3 parents who are voicing it out. Good, bad, I don't want to comment. But they're complaining. Even giving a holiday is a problem for them. They don't think in a management perspective. How do you address such things?
It's been 23 years for us. Very honestly, I tell you, our parents trust us a lot. So we have been very lucky to have parents who really trust in the leadership or the management that we do in school, where we do not have too much of problematic parents. As in, even I understand what a parent goes through. So we have 2,000 parents there. If you have 2,000 parents have 20,000 views on running the school. So if there is a single management, there is a management view also on running the school. So the parents need to understand that they need to respect the views of the management, and the management also needs to understand. But for me, if there is a parent who comes and tells, "Ma'am, my child is losing his water bottle every day and coming for a week, how are you taking this as a complaint?" I would definitely respect that. Because for that parent, for that child, that water bottle becomes very important. And I personally feel we need to respect the concerns of the parents. I always tell my parents, this is not a complaint.
But do you also see they put their personal stress on the whole system sometimes?
Definitely. There are a lot of things like that. There's a lot of allegations on the school system nowadays. There's a lot of things that is being said, that this school is just running on this school runs for money, this school is just doing this school is doing that. There's a lot. And what happens, with one parent putting out this view, everybody thinks they're supporting
an
that. Yes.
Instead, it's better to come and speak to the management,
Yes,
resolve
yes,
things.
yes.
You know,
Yes.
your thought may not be somebody else's thought. So
Yes.
it's important to voice out
Yes.
your thought
Yes.
in an individual way,
Yes,
coming
yes.
and addressing and speaking,
Yes,
instead of like putting that seed into everybody's mind.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to
What
say.
happens with parents, the concerns and the complaints that they have, they put on these WhatsApp groups. And I insist them to please come and put this to the system. 99% of these complaints and concerns don't reach us at all. Because they think, oh, they may not listen to us. They think, oh, ಇದನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಏನೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಓ ಇದನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನ ಮಗುನ ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಇದನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ನಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ಬೇಜಾರು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. This is another myth that is there. ಈ ಕನ್ಸರ್ನ್ಸ್ ನೀವು ವಾಟ್ಸ್ಆ್ಯಪ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಹಾಕೋ ಬದಲು there is something called mail, there's something called message to the school. I insist the parents to be doing that. There's always a good solution to speaking out in front than speaking behind. I think parents have to voice this out to the schools, to the admins directly. And I completely agree, there are so many schools which do not allow them to be coming and speaking inside, but there is a solution to it. They can always come and express this to admins. The emails are there to help them out, and they need to voice this out to the school so that it reaches them.
Amazing. So as a modern parent, like a new age parent, what we call, I would include me also, we have a lot of problem with the education system. And I want to be open about it. If you give me permission for the next 10 minutes to voice out a new age parent, would you?
Yes, definitely.
So I have a problem with the system that, my child is preparing for 20 years from now. Let's say she's 8. She's going to get into the actual world of profession about another 18 years later. I mean, not 18, 12 years later. So she's 20, 22 that time. At that point of a time, you never know how fast and how forward the world would have gone in next 12 years. How today's education system is preparing them to be future ready.
The irony of the educational institutions all over India is that we fail to prepare children for the future. Maybe we should take the education system to the next level, where the mental wellness, the skills have to be taught. There is a first ranker, there's always a practical method where, like, even if I'm a first ranker, sometimes I don't even know how to fix the bulb. And you speak about electricity, you speak about science so much in the classrooms, and how it's about positive and negative there. But the practicality of education is nowhere shown in schools. I completely agree to it. And there are so many experiential schools which are actually into existence, where there's no assessments, there's no tests, there's no exams, but the practicality is more. But the parenting, or we as parents, even I as a parent, do not agree to such system. Now, because ಓ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಗು ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮಗು ಸ್ಕೂಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಓ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಗು ಯಾಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ there are 10 taglines that actually is coming. But we have the futuristic schools where I think there is 1% of parents who actually are doing homeschooling now, where the children learn through traveling. There is a friend of mine who disconnected his twin daughters in 2nd grade, and he's into traveling now. He completely teaches his children to be traveling, skills, jumping, going here, learning all this. It's not that they would not become successful. And I think we have given a lot of importance to grades, education system, school, and the compulsions of taking ranks and degrees, and like my friend's son is doing his MS, so my son also should be doing MS, is all too much of expectation. And I think we have given a lot of importance to education. Beyond education, there's a huge world that the child has to learn.
Amazing.
Yes.
I also have a contradictory question here, Dr. Vanitha. Like, okay, I am a parent who thinks that, my girl has to learn skills than the actual education, okay? Because we also have this thing that none of that I have read in my school's books or things like that, I'm using it today. That's a very honest thing that, yes, that has given me a lot of confidence, that has given me a lot of accreditation, credibility, no doubt about it. Education is very important. Today I sit here confidently because I come with that educational qualification. Along with that, I also implemented a lot of skills. but I also want my child to have a lot of skills that is going to complement her in her growth. But in case, like you said, one of your friend has withdrawn the kids from the school and things like that, do you think somewhere that kid will be left behind? And what could be lacking if somebody chooses to do homeschooling? Or it could be directly sending them to skill oriented learning or an experiential school, and there are kids who are learning in regular schools. What do you think the major difference would be between these two kinds of kids?
Yeah, the major aspect is whether you're parallelly taking a homeschooling child on assessments without schooling is a matter. But if the child is actually doing a homeschooling, and if the child is not entering the school, I feel the child would just miss the school experience.
Absolutely, I agree.
Because there's a lot of learning other than textbook learning. There's a lot of learning that goes with the pedagogy of all over holistic education that the child goes through. But I feel there could be some 5% or 10% of loss, but it doesn't mean that the child is never going to be successful. Homeschooling children can always be successful. It's
Absolutely.
not just about
and I think
education.
you brought in a very beautiful experience. Now we all, like, when we think back, I don't think I would remember my MBA days, or I would remember my degree days or a PU days. The first thing that I would remember is my school days. How amazing was my high school? How amazing
Yes.
was my 10th standard? Those 3 years were magical. And if I want to, do that, what is that, time machine or whatever, go back to some years back, I think I would directly go to my 10th standard with my best friends, doing all that hangama that I did, and still stood out and, had that journey. I think that's a major loss that a child would have.
Yes.
But how can you blend, institutions like you blend, experiential learning to the current education system? Like, it could be CBSE, it could be ICSE or state syllabus. How do you think you can blend, and what management like yours would do to bring a little bit of experiential learning into it?
Adding to the previous points, Purti, you said that you would want to go back to your school, because we always say that we miss our school because that was always like a golden days and everything. And you know what? The irony is that children do not miss the science and maths teaching or the learning there. They miss the fun that they have had. So this fun is something a child definitely misses. And coming back to the points that you have said, the major challenge for us is time constraints. Teachers,
So
they have a lot of
complete what you're
pressure.
supposed to complete in the time given.
Yes, managing that with skills is a very difficult challenge for us. Very, very difficult challenge. As such, going back to the other previous points you said, like if my child is not liking, I think by the time your daughter comes to 7th grade or 8th grade, NEP would completely be implemented there, where she will have a choice of taking Hindi or not taking Hindi. She'll definitely have. That is about national education policy.
Correct,
that
yeah.
will be implemented. But in the present system, this is not there. And the problem with the education system in India is there's a lot of implementation, addition of rules for 1 year, and the next year it is a deletion, and next year it's a different addition. So the assessments are different for this year's students, it's different for the next year's students. Sometimes you have a re-exam policy in grade 10. Sometimes the re-exam policy is not at all there after 6 months also. So this is like luck or no luck moment for a child, where it just depends on who is giving that rule and which year it is going through.
Right. Also, this brings me to this question of what are the multiple activities that you have introduced in the school to make sure that child is getting different experience apart from the actual studies or learning that she goes through the books and things like that?
Nammali, the major aspect is we are too much into sports. So we have a cricket academy that is run for the girls and boys. So nammali around 350 students idare evening cricket classes tagolodike. And we have the volleyball classes that goes on. We have the kabaddi coaching that goes on. We have the kho coaching that goes on. So last year ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ಸಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ರು. CBSE ಇದು ಹರಿಯಾಣಗೆ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ಸ್. It was the only school out of 23 schools in Karnataka which reached the nationals of girls. And then we have the taekwondo classes, we have the dance class, we have the music classes, and we have computers. And then the school day also is a reflection of, like, how we run the school. So we have a lot of integrated programs, themes that is actually inculcated. We have drama, and we have skills. Skill classes anta irate. Every week we have 1 or 2 skill classes per
What
class.
kind of skill classes?
So we teach them how to cut vegetables, we teach them how to stitch clothes, we teach them how to clean the fans, we teach them how to mop the floor. So these are the skills that is being
Life
evolved.
skills.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with the present scenario, there are parents who would definitely think that, like, ನಮ್ಮ ಮಗು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ. It's not about anybody doing. No matter how rich or how poor you are, one day we'll have to take through life's challenges and we'll have to make a glass of juice and drink. So we are just preparing children for that, not
Right.
to do any other thing. So these are the skill activities that we actually
Amazing. I have a problem here. You said a list of things that you do, but where is education system teaching leadership, communication, financial literacy, about money, about ethics, about well-being, all of these things?
I think I need to accept to this point that we are definitely not preparing them for that. Like, see, for example, in our school, we have financial literacy classes going on for 9th and 10th grade. And skill-based teaching is like very rare because we have time constraint. Our teachers really work hard. They work the most, but we have a lot of time constraints. And then ethics, communication skills is something that I would like to speak, because communication comes through parents first. So the child learns communication through parents. So
But what if the parent is on herself or himself is not really good at communication?
if they're not really good at communication, the communication of the child drops down. That's the output.
So doesn't it become a responsibility of the school then?
Yes, it becomes
Because
a
today any
responsibility.
job that you go in,
Yes.
you're not asked your degrees, you're not asked your marks, you're not asked anything else, but you're seen how you appear, how you speak, how you dress, how you present yourself, how confident you are, what kind of leadership qualities you carry, what kind of skills you have, these things. How is education system preparing the children to be future ready for their jobs or for their businesses or for them going forward?
I think we as educators in school are definitely not preparing children for the future. We have definitely failed in that because of time constraints, or maybe because there's a lot of pressure on ranking. I don't know, I have to focus this. There's a lot of pressure on
Whom
ranking.
do we blame? Management, parents, system, society, political policies, and government policies?
Maybe this is predefined tradition that it's about education and marks.
Where the change should begin? Where is that the change has
The change
to start?
has to begin at home, and then the school, and then the society, and then the next level there.
Amazing. Okay. I really appreciate for the fact that being a principal, being an educationist, and running a group of institute, you accepted to the fact that
Yes.
this is missing in the system.
Yes.
And I would really urge and kind of make this as a request on behalf of everybody. Small steps towards leadership, small steps towards, of course, you told me financial literacy, preparing to be more confident. And I've seen your children, they're very confident. And I mean, I've seen your kids like being the best cricketers. I mean, they've taught us cricket, and some of the girls, seeing them ball, it's like, I see future cricketers in your school. I mean, that's what I've seen. Other spaces I've not been able to enter. But I think you're preparing some of the best people, best kids for the future also. Likewise, I think educationists like you are the change makers. I think that little difference, bringing in leadership, bringing in that changes in terms of making children confidence. I think confident is something maybe we should really put in focus into.
Yeah, for this, I would definitely expect a lot of cooperation from the parents to not be insisting on the ranking here, because there are few children like who would be first rankers, but they would never be successful. They're last rankers who are always successful.
I've had this experience.
So, yes, and even I have had this experience. most dullest student in my school life is in a top-notch job
You know,
now.
until 7th, I used to get like, I think 28th, 29th rank or something. I don't even remember what rank I used. 8th, 9th, 10th, I somehow coped up. I was better. After that, I started studying well. And my mom did all that drama. And I was 2 times dropout from first PUC. You know, college never gave me attendance. That, you know, I did not have attendance, so they never gave me hall ticket, so I had to write it in correspondence. My mama did all the drama possible that please ನೀನು ಏನಾದರೂ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋ ಓದ್ಕೋ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಓದ್ಬಿಡು ಸಾಕು ಅಂತ.
Me setting an example, I would definitely want to tell my parents that like you will have to encourage children what they want to be. There are dancers who are in such amazing dances that is just a skill. She doesn't have to get first rank to become a dancer, so it's just a skill that we as parents should encourage and let children, you know, go ahead with all.
Is the fear? I mean, I think we can't blame the parents because there is a fear that, you know, everything boils down to the earning ability, and Indian parents have a huge fear that skills don't earn. Skills like cricket, skills like dance, skills like music, skills like art, skills like anything which they don't have a confidence where the children can earn. An engineering degree and a doctorate degree, medical degree or a BBM, MBA can earn them money. So what's your message?
I think the biggest fear that our parents actually have is the fear of society being judged. So judgmental aspects is a very big thing because they just get to know, oh, ನಿಮ್ಮಗ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ತೆಗ್ದಿದ್ದಾನೆ ರೀ ಅಂದರೆ ನನಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅವಮಾನ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಆನ್ 5 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ತೆಗ್ದಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇಫ್ ಐ ವಾಸ್ ಇನ್ ದಟ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್, I would very proudly say that my child has got so much of marks because I think my sons have been going to cricket from the age of like 8 years and have been encouraging. So today they are cricketers. They've got their engineering seat through sports quota. So it's a very proud feeling for me as a mother to be acknowledging that. So I want all parents to be acknowledging and leaving that fear of society of being judged. Oh, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಗ ಓದಿಲ್ವೇನ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನನಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅವಮಾನ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ. You can tell, ಇಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ಮಗ ಓದೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. He is focusing on the skill. He is good at dance. He is good at drawing. He is good at cricket. ನಾವು ತುಂಬ ಎನ್ಕರೇಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಆ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನೀವು ಯಾವಾಗ ಎನ್ಕರೇಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರೋ ದಟ್ ಫಿಯರ್ ಆಫ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಜಡ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೋರ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೂ ಆ ಭಯ ಇದೆ, ನೀವು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಜಡ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಂತಲೇ ಅವ್ರು ಬೇರೆ ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ತೊಗೋಬೋದು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ.
Brilliant. I think we spoke quite a lot extensively,
yes,
and
yes.
I had a great experience talking to you because for the fact that you are acknowledging the reality and not just covering up the system and things like that. And I'm seriously appreciating the fact that as a principal, you're speaking from your heart and not just as a managing director. Big group of institutions. Truly appreciate that, Dr. Vanitha. So now coming back to the managerial skills and the management aspect of it, there are few things I want to discuss with you. Coming back to schools and school systems and things like that, teachers are the real creators of future, right? Teachers make India, make tomorrow's India. So how skilled are today's teachers to prepare the children for tomorrow?
That's a challenging one. How skilled? See, teachers' knowledge cannot be measured. Like, you know, each teacher has to be treated on a very individual, scenarios. Where sometimes there is an old saying that you need an experienced teacher to teach. There are so many youngsters who have a lot of creative ideas that they want to inculcate in the growth of education or in the pedagogy of education and everything. And this challenge is something that the whole India has to realize, that all the teachers have to be trained on a uniform basis, because every teacher has a different idea. Every teacher has a different role. Every teacher addresses this thing in a very different thing. Because now, see, even in my school, my children are scared. Like when they take out principal's name, so they're like, principal ma'am ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಭಯ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆದರೆ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಭಯ ಇಡಿಸಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ, ಓಕೆ, ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಶಟ್ ಯುವರ್ ಮೌತ್, ಯು ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಅಪ್, ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಸಿಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್. When you allow children to sit down the way they want to sit, no, that's freedom. And I think we are seeking freedom from outside. We have to give that freedom inside if we have to give. So our uniform training abilities now teachers will ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. And this is the most underrated job. which is the most noblest job.
I think the respect and the the kind of value that the teachers have to be given have to be raised up. The bar has to raise.
Yes,
That's when the whole system
yes.
will bring in a lot of difference, right?
For that, I think the management has to start respecting teachers. I've seen many schools where teachers have been sidelined, have not been respected. We need to respect the views of teachers. We
Very
need to
important.
respect. We need to give them importance. If we give importance, the whole nation will give
And I
importance.
also strongly
to it.
believe that teachers have to be trained continuously. It's not that B.Ed they finish or the qualificational education that they finish, but also start learning about. They should start learning about how to inculcate education, leadership in their training methodology, communication
the new
skills.
Of things that have been introduced in the field of education. That there are so many teachers who are outdated, who has to come to new methodology of teaching or the pedagogy of teaching here, the new learning experiences, the assessments, the analytical assessments that have to be done, the portfolios that have to be created. In that sense, the CBSE is doing an amazing job in training teachers in this field.
NEP has a lot of guidelines for these, right? Teacher trainings and things
Yes, the NEP has a lot of guidelines, but we need to bring that into existence to bring the training
NEP
into
makes guidelines. NEP is National Education Policy. So NEP makes guidelines. And who's checking if those guidelines are followed?
There's no one as of now. The education system is still trying to inculcate or introduce NEP and tell educators like us what is NEP. We are still there. So it is just still not.
It's a long way to go ahead.
It's a very long way to go. I can say it is not even started, because the whole policy is about 5+3+3+4. There are so many schools and teachers who have to understand that first and then go forward. So I think it may take a very long time.
How often do you do teachers training in your institute?
As in the skill-based training, or
just like
we do once a month.
Once a month.
Yes.
Great. So I have this question, very curious to listen from you. The parents-teachers meeting. Now the problem is not the students' attendance. The attendance of the parents for the parents-teachers meeting is also a biggest challenge.
Yes.
Okay, I will address why I say this, but what is your thought? Recently, I was having a conversation regarding this, and I heard from the educationists saying that less than 60% of the parents attend parents-teachers meeting. I don't know if it's the case with you, but it's a cumulative research that has come out saying that today's parents-teachers meeting, less than 60% of the parents attended. So what's your thought on this?
Firstly, our school is actually situated in a rural zone. So we stay towards the north of Bangalore. When we started school in 2003, my first parents meeting, so we had 94 students in the first year. When we did the first parents-teachers meeting, first time in our lives, we had only 2 parents who attended.
Oh my God. Okay.
Then, so to bring them to the concept of parents-teachers meeting 23 years ago was a very difficult thing. But now in my zone, in our zone, it's like all mothers make sure they come to the meeting. So we have around 90% of the attendance, because mothers are so concerned. And like the whole thing that revolves around a mother's world is like, ನನ್ನ ಮಗ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾನೆ, ಒಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ನಾವು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು, ಇಲ್ಲ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಫೀಡ್ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ದ ಟೀಚರ್ ಗಿವ್ಸ್, ದ ಗುಡ್ ಫೀಡ್ಬ್ಯಾಕ್, ದ ಬ್ಯಾಡ್ ಫೀಡ್ಬ್ಯಾಕ್, ದೇ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಸಿ, take it back and go. So I don't know about the metropolitan areas there, but in our area, parents do come.
Yeah, I also put in a lot of efforts to be there on all the parents-teachers meeting, but there are 1 or 2 which gets missed because of my professional commitment, and I try and make it up for that. But my question was, how should a teacher be during the parents-teachers meeting, and how should a parent be during that, and what should be each other's expectation?
See, as such, I believe in positivity. Actually, I'm a very positive person. I always insist my teachers to be smiling. And then I insist my teachers to be telling, about the children in a very positive way than complaining about students. Because as you continue to complain, there is no end to it. And I insist the same thing to parents coming and telling that you id madalla or at madalla annodikkinta ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. There is a child who may not be good in studies, but he may be good in many other things. This for a parent and the teacher to realize, she or the parent needs 20 to 25 years. ಅವತ್ತು ಆ ಮಗು ದೊಡ್ಡವನಾಗಿ ಅಥವಾ ದೊಡ್ಡವಳಾಗಿ ಬಂದಾಗ ನಾವು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಅನ್ಕೊಂತೀವಿ, ಓ ಯು ಆರ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್, ಓಕೆ. ಆ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅವಾಗ ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮೊದಲೇ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅದನ್ನು ಎನ್ಕರೇಜ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು.
Amazing. Yes. So we as a 90s kids, we had that one teacher in all of our lives who said, "Neen yavattu udaragala." And I to have all my teachers who have said this to me. So but we don't remember those other teachers, but we remember that teacher at least for the fact that I want to go back to her and tell, see, I did this, ma'am. You know, and it's in a very nice way. That teacher student relationship is very cute way. Yes. But where we took it, I'm bringing that again. The way a 90s kid took it is like, ma'am, angella illa. Andre avaga atara ಒಂದು ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇರ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಬಟ್ ಈಗಲೂ ಅದೇ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಲೈಕ್ ನೀನು ಉದ್ಧಾರ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂದಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಈಗಲೂ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ನಾನು ಮಾಡಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರ ಅಥವಾ ಅದನ್ನ ತುಂಬಾ ಲೈಟ್ ಆಗಿ ತಗೋತಾರ? ಈಗ ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್? How, what do you think?
It is definitely impacting in a very different way. ನಮಗೆ ಅದೊಂದು ಚಾಲೆಂಜ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಈಗ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ವೆರಿ ಲೈಟ್ಲಿ. ದೇ ಲೈಕ್ the statement doesn't make any difference in my life. So whether I want to do what I want to do, I will definitely do anta. But ಇವಾಗಿನ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡೋಂಥದ್ದು, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನೇದರ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನೇದರ್ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಪಿಯರ್ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಸರೌಂಡಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ದಿ ಎನ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ PUC ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಈವನ್ ವೆನ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಔಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅ ಮೂವಿ, it was like 1 week of persistent applications that we put to parents and tell that ನಾ ಮೂವಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಈಗ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಹೇಳೋ ನೆಸೆಸಿಟಿನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ಕೊತಾರೆ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಆರ್ ಮೂವಿ, ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಗೋ ವಾಚ್. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಮೆನಿ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಅಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಓವರಾಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ದಿಸ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪಿಯರ್ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್. ಅವ್ರು ಯಾವ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ನ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟು. ಯಾವ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಎನ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳೀತಾರೆ, ಯಾವ ಮನೆ ಎನ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳೀತಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಗೆ ಆಚೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊತಾರೆ ಅಂತ. ಆ್ಯಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದಿಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್, ನಾವು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಅಂದ್ಕೊತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಆಚೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳಾಗ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ರಾಂಗ್ ಮಿತ್ ದಟ್ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ನಾವು ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಎಷ್ಟು ಆಚೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀವೋ
ಅಷ್ಟೇ
ಧೈರ್ಯ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಲೆಸನ್ಸ್ ಅವ್ರು ಲರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಪಾಠಗಳನ್ನ ಕಲಿತಾರೆ. ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರನ್ನ ನೋಡಿ ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಳೋಂಥದ್ದು ತುಂಬ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ಯಾವ್ದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದು, ನಾನು ಎಷ್ಟು ತಗೋಬೇಕು, ಯಾವ್ದು ಕೆಟ್ಟದ್ದು ನಾನು ಎಷ್ಟು ತಗೋಬೇಕು.
Amazing. So who according to is an ideal teacher?
I think a teacher should have a lot of emotions. A teacher should understand the emotions of a child. A teacher should be disciplined too. A teacher needs to be strict when she needs to be strict. A teacher needs to encourage the child when she has to encourage. A teacher needs to be a child when she has to be a child with children. A teacher needs to mend the child when she needs to mend the child. So a teacher ಅಂದರೆ ಅವರು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಡಿಸಿಪ್ಲಿನ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಜುಕೇಟೆಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದಲ್ಲ. She should have all qualities of handling the child at different mood swings. So one day that if the child is crying, she needs to pamper him and try to understand why is he crying. ಸೊ ಬಟ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಾವು ಟೀಚರ್ಸು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಫೈಡ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ಸಿಂದ ಬರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ನ ನಾವು ಟ್ರೈನ್ ಮಾಡೋದೇ 2-3 years ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಸ್ಕೂಲಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಮೆಂಡ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಕಿನಾರಿಯೋಸ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಬೈ ದ ಟೈಮ್ ವಿ ಟ್ರೈನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಕಮ್ ಟು ಅ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್, ದೇ ಲೀವ್ ದ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ದೇರ್ ಓನ್ futuristic things. Either husband would have been transferred or they have different thing. And this is also a biggest challenge for a school to have one particular teacher for a long number of years. It is a very big challenge because they also have a lot of challenges, because 90% of teachers being women, they have a lot of things. They have their pregnancies, they have an accidental issue, they have their husband's transfers. But ಅವಾಗ ಹಂಗಿರ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಮ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಗಿರ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. Now we have a lot of teachers who keep changing and we need to adjust to it. But by the time we meant it is different. But what I tell all my teachers is try to understand the child from their point of view than telling it from your point of view. We need to understand if a child is crying for something, we need to understand why the child is crying.
Amazing.
Yes.
So is there any thoughts that came into your mind during this conversation that you want to bring in these things into your school?
As in?
Like, for example, like during we were having a lot of conversation, things like that. Are you going to bring in certain implementations or something like that? Not after this, generally, have you been thinking to bring certain policies or new new activities or introduce new way of learning or something like that now?
Yes, being in the rural background, my biggest challenge is speaking English from children, because they don't learn English at home. They usually come without learning, and like if English communication has to be good, they need to have a lot of communication practice at home, at school, and everywhere else. So most of the children, if they do not have the communication thing there, it becomes a challenge for us to do
Suddenly teach it in the school.
suddenly teach. And by the time the child goes out of 10th standard, we at least give 200% efforts to make sure they learn, they communicate and everything. And I want to prepare children for life. I don't know with what guts I'll have to start, I don't know, but I really feel I have to prepare children for life, because even if he's a first ranker, there's something called emotional quotient in a child, there's something called social quotient in a child, there's something called intelligent quotient in a child, there's something called adversity quotient in a child. The child is really studying very good, and suddenly his mental wellness doesn't work. Say for example, he's studying his first PUC, his girlfriend just says that I don't want to be with you. He just goes and takes an extreme step of suicide there. He's studying good, parents have supported. What scenario works, what system works here? His mental wellness is not good. So that is called emotional balance. So emotional balance illa andre illi ಏನು ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರು ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲಾನು ಒಂದು ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. It is not just about marks.
Yeah, I definitely want to ask you this. How as a parent should start observing that small changes in your child's emotional difference? Matlab, ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ changes ಬರಕ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆದಾಗ, where is that parents have to start recognizing that, and how is that at that point of a time that parents should support the child?
Usually emotional breakdown ಆದಾಗ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಸೈಲೆಂಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ, or they trigger themselves, or they absolutely disconnect from the family, go sit in the room, ಮಲಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಲಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಯಾರ ಜೊತೆನೂ ಮಾತಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಸರಿಗೆ ಊಟ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, they have their own, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರಿಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಲೈಕ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಫೈನ್ ಅಂತ. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ ಕೇಸಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಈ ಒಂದು ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ತುಂಬ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. Continuous observation of a child's behavior is the most important thing. And another irony here is every parent thinks that ನನ್ನ ಮಗು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯವನು, ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಮಾತ್ರ ಕೆಟ್ಟವರು ಅಂತ, which is not right. I think like that, you think, so he also thinks like that. So who's the bad one here? So there's no good or bad child here. It's all about the situations that has been created, and no parent is ready to accept the mistakes of the child. When it comes to school and complaints, they always think the other one has instigated him, the other one has provoked him anta. But ಇವರು ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ನಂಬೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. There's so many parents who come to us after 3-4 years and tell that ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ ನಿಜ, ನಾವು ನಂಬಬೇಕಿತ್ತು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ದೇ ಥಿಂಕ್ ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. And of course I said adversity effect, ಆಮೇಲೆ socialization ಬಿಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. And suddenly there's so many times that a child loses his own friend due to some accidental issues. ಅದನ್ನು ತಗೊಳಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಯಾರು ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿಸೋದಿಲ್ಲ.
So how is the parents should support at that point of a time? Like what is that comfort and support that
they need to talk to the child, they need to take the child to the counseling, because all the time parents cannot do the counseling. So they are well qualified counselors for that. You need to take the child out of the whole situation and then help the child to go through the counseling. And actually the counseling anotherkinta teachers can help, school can actually help. They need to bring it to the notice of school.
Amazing.
This is also most
very
important.
Nice. Dr. Vanitha, there's a huge debate that's going on in terms of school fees and ever hiking fee system in our country. And there's nothing lesser than a lakh of rupees nowadays. I'm talking about the metro cities and things like that. You need quality education, you need to keep aside a lakh of a rupee. So what do you think? The first question is, what do you think is a major difference from a school that is charging a lesser amount, maybe like 50,000, 60,000 rupees, because I don't know if there's any school which charges lesser than that, and a school which charges 3 lakh rupees, and a school that charges 8 lakh rupees per year, and a school that even charges up to 16 to 18 lakh rupees per annum? What's the actual difference you see?
There's a huge difference as such. There are so many schools who predefine themselves based on the amenities that they give, based on the infrastructure they have, based on the quality of education, and based on the amounts that they have actually put into the infrastructure of the school. So that is predefined. And
It's based on the investment that they have made to build that school.
Yes, because there are so many schools which runs on rental, so many schools that is constructed with lakhs, so many schools which has been constructed for 10 lakhs also. There's so many schools who have spent 10 crores also.
And even beyond that.
Beyond that. And there's so many schools who pitch in teachers from abroad to give that quality of education. So affording their salaries also is a big challenge for them. So this is how they predefine, thinking that, okay, if this is my school, if I'm putting my dress at stake, so this is how much I can give. So this is how the schools actually predefine their fees.
But instead of complaining, should parents start understanding that there is a, usually ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, I'm just want to put it in a lay, ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಲೂಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಇವಾಗ, ತುಂಬಾ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಒಂದು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಸಿನೆರಿಯೋ ಬಿಹೈಂಡ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್?
To sit and speak from that side, it's very easy. To sit as a management and run the school is a different poster altogether. Because school anta bandaga, it's not just about giving salaries, it's about maintenance, keeping the building intact. And now infrastructure anta kottaga, iga say for example, if it is our school structure, it is placed in 6 acres. So our 6 acres infrastructure management, there are too many challenges.
So I tell this with a personal experience. My daughter used to study in a school which ranged lesser than a lakh, and now after a lot of study and a lot of research and going and meeting a lot of schools and things like that, I've put her in a school which has more advanced infrastructure and things like that. But I do see a difference in her behavior, learning style, and her communication and things like that. There is a difference. Of course, there is a difference. Where is this actual change coming in? Isn't in the teacher quality, or is it in the infrastructure, or is it in the management, or as a overall? Or there are schools even which charges high and does not give the quality of a school which is giving, it is priced at a lakh. So where is that, how the parents should actually choose schools?
Choosing school is a very different, difficult question now, because you never know. They always think that putting a child in a very good school gives the good output. That again depends on the child. How the child has been parented, again with what peer he is getting into. There's always a group which is good, there's always a group which is always tagged bad. There's always a peer pressure of what the child learns. So if he stays in a group which is into bad habits, he may get influenced in a good school also. So it is a very tricky,
it's a very situational thing.
Very situational thing. So there is no output like, if you're putting the child in this school, the output is going to be like this, because there are various things that come into existence here. And there's so many students who have studied in government school and they're doing very good job now. I studied in a government college, I studied in a convent school, but during those days we didn't have a private college, so I studied in a government college. So this formula is something that parents have to change. Of course, there's a lot of communication things that comes into existence, there's a lot of quality, but choosing a school is definitely a very good decision. Choosing a right school also is very, very important. But at the same time, it depends on your child, it depends on the parenting, it depends on who he chooses to be with.
Beautiful. For example, there are schools in Bangalore which are charging about 10 lakh rupees to 18 lakh rupees per annum per child. What do you think is special about these schools that they're charging so much? And what is that extra things that can justify that price? Annual, it's not even an annual salary of both the parents together with a lot of families. But that much of fees is paid for a child per year. So what do you think is there in those schools that can justify that payment?
Well, I'm not in that plate though. But definitely they would think that they have the amenities like that. They have teachers who they bring in from other countries to this thing to give that quality of education that the parents are expecting.
So do you think Indian parents cannot cope up to that level of training and teachers' quality?
Yet there are many parents who think that we'll have to get that kind of.
So it's parents.
It's again parents to take that decision
So
of
it's the societal seed that is
yes.
built in
Yes,
parents that
and they feel privileged to go and say that okay, my child is studying in this school where they bring teachers from another country is a privilege for them. So I think we need to respect that.
With all due respect,
yes.
with all the decisions, it's completely personal choice on which school you decide to put your child in. But I was just curious to know what's that being given. I mean, I'm at you and going and checking in what are the amenities that they provide and what is that is available there, to just out of curiosity. But no offense, I mean, respecting, with all due respect to all the parents and teachers and the children, I think ultimately we boil down to the fact that every child needs to be respected and the parents have to be supportive emotionally, mentally, and with all due respect to their the thought process and the emotions that they carry, right? That's the whole thing.
Yes,
ultimately
very much.
The child has to win emotionally before he actually wins in academics or his profession or anything else.
His mental wellness is the most important of all.
Right. A happy child is a successful child.
Yes, very much.
So focus on creating happy children and, just try and give a lot of happiness to your children. And that's the biggest gift that you can give beyond everything. So now, Dr. Vanitha, I want to keep all that thing that you're doing aside for a minute.
Okay.
And I want to talk to only Vanitha. So if you give me permission, I want to keep all that you're doing aside for a minute, being a principal of a school, managing director of a group of educational institutes, an entrepreneur running a business chain, and a lot of other things. Who is Vanitha as an individual?
You want me to define about myself?
Yeah, who are you, leaving aside all of this?
To be very frank, I think this is an open statement, like maybe nobody knows. I'm actually I have a child inside me. So I want to relive my life that I've not lived. And because we were brought up in a very strict condition, and now I feel I just want positivity around me. I just want to talk to people. I want to compliment people. I want to tell good things to people. I want to have an experience in life. I like to travel. I like to do business. I like to speak to people. I like to know about human behaviors. I like to study about child behaviors. And I think many
What would you do differently if you go back to school now?
I really have no idea on that.
Okay, is there any sport that you would be more interested to be in, and you would act, any extracurricular activity?
Yes, maybe cricket, because I was a team owner of QPL.
Right.
Yes, I would definitely want to learn cricket.
Right, you were our team owner for QPL, Queen's Premier League, and she was the only female owner, and that was one of the best experiences of my life. I must thank you for that, because I had this dream of playing cricket in everybody seeing us, cheering for us in the stadium and all of that, and you made that dream come true for us, and that experience was mind-blowing. So what made you think that it was a film field and a film fraternity which was hosting it? From education to film, getting into that space was a big transition, what I've seen in you. Mm-hmm. And how did you receive that, and how did you prepare for that?
Mm-hmm. Being from the school days, I think I've been a girl who was always very studious, sportive, and very challenging. I always like to take challenges, so I would always like to try something new. And in my dictionary, there's something that I can't do. There's no word like I can't do. There's no solution for it. It's something that I don't believe in. So when I did schooling, when we started school, and I worked for school for so many years, I started thinking, okay, maybe I would always love to do something interesting. And when QPL came to my table, I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. And like, because we're associated with a lot of cricket and camping and all that, I thought I must try it. And when they approached, they definitely said that we are looking for women owners. And I definitely said no for the first time. And after 15 days, they again came back and asked, and I thought like, okay, if this is knocking at your door, for the second time, it is meant for me, and I would definitely want to take. I am a kind of person who would never want to miss any good opportunity.
Amazing.
Yes.
So, what changed? How did things change for you in QPL? Were there any transition that you experienced there, because it was a completely new experience for you?
Yes, it was a film field, and when I entered the QPL bidding, it was very flashy, and all glamorous, beautiful girls. And in the education field, I'm a very thoroughly perfectionist here, and I'm very confident here. I can just solve any problem here. And there I went, and I went mute for 5 minutes. I was like, you are in the field of education, and like you've come to QPL, okay, and this is a very glamorous world. Do I fit in here or not? And then after the bidding, I started feeling like a queen, because everybody started giving so much of importance. And I always like to be kind and human to people. I like to be, like, caring, compassionate, and I'm very empathetic. And I could understand that, like, being a caring person has some value, because everybody started reciprocating to me in a very good way.
And you took care of us with all that we needed, and
Yes.
so much of pampering and things.
I always like
that.
to take care of people. I feel
Thank you so much. And we had
Yes.
so what's your best memory from QPL?
My best memory would be the matches that we played on the first day. We won the first match, we lost the second, but we won the third one, and we won the fourth one. So that was a very big moment for me, because like it was really nice. It was a kind of victory to myself. So we went to the quarters, and we lost in the last few matches, but I'm very glad we did it, and I'm very glad that I met such wonderful people there, and having Spooty in my team was always a privilege for me.
So nice. And we had like the really good team,
The
like
best of times,
holding
and
to each other.
Yes,
And I
yes.
think
it was like a school camping.
right,
it was an our
absolutely. And next time when
campus,
QPL is happening, the entire team wants to come back to this team. Hopefully that happens. And if somebody is seeing this, maybe they will make it not happen. So let me not tell this at all.
Yes.
Okay, coming back, my last question on your personal life. So if you put aside everything and want to spend one ideal day, maybe in your 60s, after retiring, how that day looks like for you?
My day would start with a home along the beach side, having those winds or the greens, the beaches, and then having whatever I want to have in the morning. Then take my car and just go out, and then enjoy the nature there, meet some few people over there, come back and have a peaceful lunch, and then again go out and do something that I like, maybe attending an event or something. Freedom. No, it's not freedom, but I would like to live for myself. Like, I would want to explore the world.
Amazing.
I would want to travel.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so now coming back to the last few questions. What's your vision in education, in education field? What's your vision in the space of education and educational industry?
Having our own schools, I want our students to be a little more ambitious about life, because during our times we were very ambitious. Now it's not about ambition or something. It's like they think, okay, I can do this, okay, I can do that. They don't know what is the goal there. They don't know what subject they'll have to take. They're so confused even in second PUC. They're so confused even in 10th grade. They don't know what to do, and they think everything will just happen like that. And children actually think we can just go out, have some kind of enjoyment in college, and that's all life is about. And I think my vision is more on the skills, be it emotional skills, being the skills that they'll have to learn. I want to have a skill-based school where we teach children through experiential learning. We need to teach children to practicality. If you're teaching science, you will have to teach them with experiments than the assessments. And if that is the case, if it is my vision, I definitely don't want to have assessments for children because I am under somebody's custody of CBSE and state. I need to adhere to the rules and regulations of that, and I have huge respect for that. But in the future, The marks, the assessments is not something that derives the future of a child. It's something else.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think the parents have to buy this idea, and the change begins at home. And the change begins at home is what someone who runs a group of institutions and is a principal of a school and is also dealing with children, teachers, and parents every single day says. And this is a very strong statement, and this is a very strong message. So, finally, Dr. Vanitha, what's your message to all the teachers watching this?
To all the teachers, I would always insist on learning what you're teaching.
Upgrading their skills.
Upgrading the skills. And more important, more than this, you need to learn to connect to children. You need to learn how to handle children with different capabilities. One child has a different capability, another child has a different capability. And we come through a tradition where teachers always give importance to first rankers, second rankers, and third rankers. Please focus on the last ones, because they deserve your love, they deserve your learning, they deserve your respect, because your allegations on them puts a lot of trauma on their lives, their future and everything. And I think teachers have to encourage those students who need it the most.
Beautiful. And what's your message for the parents?
For the parents, I would insist, please do not focus only on the marks and grades. Focus on the emotional well-being of the child. Know what your child is going through. Do not keep scolding the child. Give at least 5 to 10 compliments in a day of what he's good at. Encourage your child. Do not compare your child with anybody else, and give them the support that they want to do, and allow them to learn or do what they want to do.
Amazing. What's your message to children?
To children who have always been very close to me, I think I want children to do what they want to do. They'll have to know to voice their voices out. They need to put out the questions that they want to put. Even now, we stay in a stage where if a teacher asks, like, put your questions, child always thinks, oh, maybe if my question is wrong, the whole class may laugh. What I want to tell children, even if the whole class laughs, you have to daringly stand up and tell or ask what is your question. You have to voice your voice out. Be confident enough. Focus on your personality, because personality is also very, very important as much as education. How you look, how healthy you are, what you eat, how you treat others is the most important thing, no matter how educated you are. How you treat others matters the most.
Amazing. So I had a great conversation today. And I'm sure this podcast is going to make the way parents, it's going to change and impact and make a difference in the way parents think, teachers think, we as individuals think about education system. So thank you so much for joining, and I hope you had an equally great experience being on this podcast.
It was an amazing experience, because this is the first of its kind. It was really amazing answering these questions, and I understood like how nice it is about speaking in the field that I stay in. So thank you so much, Spurti, and my gratitude towards you.
Thank you so much. So that's Real Celebrity Podcast, powered by C. Krishna HIT Group of Jewelers, featuring Dr. Vanitha Lokesh, Managing Director of Shrishti Group of Institutions and the Principal of BMN Public School. Well, I think I had a great conversation with her, and I'm going to be back with another exciting episode. Until then, stay tuned. Namaskara.